Let's head on over to Kissimmee, where Thomas has a question about his Lexus. Go ahead, Thomas.
Yes, Larry. I have a 2000 Lexus. I purchased it in 2006. It had about 50,000 miles on it. Ever since then, I've been changing the oil up every 2,000 miles with conventional oil. And with the transmission, I've been changing it, draining it, and changing the filter like 4 or 5 times since then, like every 30,000 miles. And what I was wondering if, with the transmission fluid, it's pretty clean now. Should I just continue servicing and changing just like the filter and 2 quarts of transmission fluid, or should I do a complete drain?
Well, I mean, if you're draining it, through the drain plug and topping it off, and the fluid's clean, you're probably in pretty good shape. I'm not really as worried about the transmission on that car as I am the engine itself. Now, you say you're using conventional oil in that motor. I'm going to tell you to stop that immediately. You cannot run conventional oil in that engine. And I'm going to tell you, even though it's an older car, if you don't put AMSOIL in that motor, chances are you're not going to get much more service out of it. And I would not tell anybody that in most cases. But this is an exception to the rule. All you have to do is put in 2000 Lexus ES300 engine sludge, or special policy adjustment, or engine failure, and you'll find out why you do not run conventional oils of any kind in that engine. You better get educated on AMSOIL really quick. Toyota and Lexus had a horrible time with those particular 3.0 liter motors back during that era. Actually, I wrote the special policy adjustment for Toyota back then to help consumers out because they could not believe what was happening to their motors. The engines completely sludge up, Thomas. They completely plug solid with sludge, especially with conventional oils. The only engines that there wasn't problems with were the engines that people used AMSOIL. That was the only engines that survived the problems. The issue that they had was they had changed the head gaskets, and it increased the cylinder head combustion chamber temperature so much that the oil that folks were using turned to sludge in just a short period of time. The people weren't getting 20,000 miles out of those motors. And then Toyota come along and did a special policy adjustment where they were desludging these motors and putting bearings in them and stuff and just cleaning the mess up. A lot of the engines got replaced. But during that period of time, those were the sludge monsters of the universe. And if you continue to use petroleum oils in those, you're going to be dealing with the same thing. I don't care if you change the oil every day. It's just the combustion chamber temperatures, the cylinder head temps are so high. The conventional oils can't handle it, so they turn to sludge. I know you don't want to have to buy expensive oil, but if you don't in this case, that motor's not going to last you any length of time at all. So you better go and figure on getting you some AMSOIL 0W30. That's what it's going to take to get any life out of that engine. And you can change that oil. In this case, it's a worst case scenario because this oil is going to be tormented. But I'd run it about 7,500 miles between changes. So keep the transmission fluid clean, but you've got to use the AMSOIL 0W30 in this engine. If you don't, you may as well just go ahead and get rid of the car and get something else that you can run cheap oil in, because this engine will not handle cheap oil. I appreciate your call, Thomas.